Welcome back, guys, to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Broly and specifically why he might potentially be the strongest Vanguard in Anime Vanguards Update 8.5. Let's get started on with today's video. Now, before we get started, I just want you guys to remember that our goal is to eventually get to 100k subscribers, a goal that is honestly impossible without the support of you guys. So if you want to help us get to that goal, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. And by doing so, you also get to be part of the OG sub of AB Plays. So let's get started with today's video. Now, for a future video, I think I want to make a complete video about all the Vanguards in Anime Vanguard, but right now I want to make a video about Broly because you have Escanor, who's likely the most useful Vanguard, because Escanor, you could literally upgrade him for free as long as the game mode does not have shields. You know, you have units like Songjin, who has crazy amount of nukes. You have Kaguya, who has support and good amount of crowd control, but all of them, in my opinion, in terms of pure damage, cannot compare to Broly. So let's talk about Broly today. Alright, so when I made the top 3 must-have units and the tier list, I kind of went over Broly, and I did went over Gogeta as well, and I think we might make a video on Gogeta eventually. But Broly, a lot of people do not know how much damage it does, and this is mainly because instead of just opting for making Broly a pure damage unit and just giving him big numbers, they decided to give Broly tons of critical stuff, critical attack, crit damage, and actually that gives him an insane amount of DPS. So as you place him right here, he does cost 3,000 to place. Now 3,000 is kind of expensive, he's not very cheap, and that is a little bit of an issue sometimes, but in my opinion, it's not going to be that much of a problem. Alright, so first, we're going to discuss how he works, and then we're also going to show you later what his max capability is. And as you guys can see right there, that is a full AoE follow-up attack. Now, how he essentially works is that his DPS is not going to be shown right here. Like, he's not going to have 300,000 DPS listed here. A lot of his DPS will be locked behind his critical damage, and then also his follow-up attacks, and that's not listed here in this DPS. So first, let's go take a read at what he does. Now, he has a passive that every wave this unit gains 5% crit rate up to 95%. And then he also has a ability or domain that essentially increases his crit rate per wave by 20%. Well, actually, that increases the crit rate of all unbound element units by 20% up to 100% after 7 waves, which means he does have support capabilities for other units like Aizen, Guts, and any other unbound units. And after 7 waves, said units start gaining 10% crit damage per wave, which is really good for characters like Aizen, Broly, Guts. So this domain is actually kind of a support capability as well. And this is essentially where a lot of his damage is locked behind. Alright, so how you can reach his max potential is basically you need waves, right? You need a certain amount of time to pass for his max potential to be reached, and this is actually one of Broly's weaknesses. But if you truly want to reach his full potential, you basically have to wait a little bit before activating your domain. So basically, right, so if you want to reach the max potential of your unit, it's going to go a little bit something like this. If you place your unit too early and activate your Wrathful Clash like at wave 1, like how most of you guys probably would, you will not be able to get the max amount of upgrades that you can get. So wave 1 is when I activated it. If I skip waves right here a bunch of times, you will see that the crit damage that I will obtain is not going to reach 315. Before it reaches 315, it's already out. So again, one more time, let's do that right here. Let's say you place your unit at wave 0, and then, yeah, let's say you place your unit at wave 0. At wave 1, he already has like 10%. You activate your Wrathful Clash right here. You skip wave a bunch of times. You will notice that the crit damage will only cap at about 2.95 before resetting back, before resetting back to 1.25. If you waited a little bit longer, you will be able to get 3.15, and that's kind of how you maximize this unit. So in order to max it out, instead of just going here and just activating Wrathful Clash immediately, what you could do is just wait until you have about 30% crit rate outside of wave 1, because again, wave 1 gives you an innate 50% crit rate. So outside of wave 1, wait until you have about 30% crit rate, and that's when you can activate Wrathful Clash. If you activate Wrathful Clash when you already have 30% crit rate, you can max it out until 3.15, right? 3.15. So as you guys can see right there, after 3.15, if I skip wave again, it's gonna reset back to 1.25, right? So if we could get to 3.15, yeah, this is his max potential right here. And again, in order to calculate the DPS here, because he is already doing critical attacks every time he attacks, because his crit chance is 200%. And by the way, every crit chance that Broly has that is above 100% will move to his crit damage instead. And this is because of his passive right here. Any crit this unit has over 100% gets converted to crit damage instead. So this 100% right here has already been converted to crit damage. It's already here, so you're not gonna add the extra 100% here. So every attack he's doing right now is already a critical attack, so his 418,000 damage should be multiplied by the crit damage multiplier, which is 3.15. So 418 times 3.15 times 2, because he has a passive that does follow-ups, that's how you're going to be able to get his DPS. So it's 418,620 times 3.15 multiplied by 2, because again, he attacks twice. And you can see that right here. If I turn on my visual effects and spawn in some enemies, you can see that he attacks twice. A lot like Sukuna, except Broly's follow-up attacks are a lot more consistent. 2 attacks, basically, so that's why it's multiplied by 2. And if you do all the math together, his DPS right now should be about 329,000 at his peak. So this right here is his peak DPS. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of a spark here into your imaginations, maybe. Right now, I buffed him a little bit, just a little bit. His damage is 580,480. By the way, this boss has 38 million. 580,000 right here, because again, earlier I didn't use buffs, right? But his damage right now is 580,000 thanks to Griffith and Harukarin right here. Probably could have added Smith. You know what? I am gonna be adding the Smith. We're gonna give him the damage boost, so now it's 1.98. Oh, actually, I messed up a little bit there. It's 692,000 right now. This is with Smith. This is with Harukarin. This is with Griffith. His damage is 692. This is with a lot of visits familiar. So we're gonna calculate this right here. 692,000 times crit damage, the math, the whole 9 yards. The number is 545,000 DPS, and that honestly shouldn't surprise you, considering he's literally melting enemies with 38 million HP. It literally shouldn't surprise you that his DPS right now is 545,000. This is absolutely brutal. Game mode, outside of this, like basically a story mode. All right, so we're testing him out here in Ruin City, Drive Back the Shadow, because I feel like this is hard enough. Is good, and it probably could still be faster if you had like a good burb and whatnot. But I don't have a good familiar on him at all. But if you had like a really good familiar, like a good burb, this is really fast. It would definitely be faster. All right, so we actually did it, and still no burb, but we did it in 8 minutes, which again, for just using Broly, if you place down a Monarch Aizen, which would get buffed by Broly or a Guts, it would be significantly faster, in my opinion. But this was just purely Broly alone against the hard Decidueye. Alright, so we're gonna be testing out Broly with the same strategy, buffed. Because again, it took about 8 minutes unbuffed without anything. So I want to see how fast Broly can actually do it this time in the hard mode. They call this familiar. If I had a good familiar, it would be so much faster. Alright, I'm getting a decent Fu familiar. I want to be able to kind of help out my character much more. Right now, we need to get rid of the cage. The cage is basically the hardest problem that we are encountering right now. If we could get past the cage, this would be so much easier. And I think with the Fu familiars, we probably will get past the cage. Yeah, we did get past the cage this time, which is very nice. Hopefully we can do it again. All right, so we got rid of the Sid very, very early. So right now we are going to upgrade the Smith. Okay, probably not because that costs a lot. We're probably just gonna focus on Broly right now. But yeah, basically right now the goal is just to get Broly to as high damage as possible. Right now, obviously, 2.15 is a little bit... Right, I think we could do it a lot faster now. Probably not like 3 minutes, but I think a lot faster, definitely. Alright, we are at record time right now. We are only 4 minutes and 30 seconds in. Again, the no burb is killing this run for me. Had I had a burb, this run would probably be faster. So I will be farming for a burb, but that really is the limiting factor right now with my time. I don't have a good enough burb in order to clear this. Maybe had I had a good enough burb, it would be so much faster. But because there's no burb, it is taking its time. The main problem with him basically is his cost. He costs a lot, and that is one of the primary reasons why he is really struggling to complete this very, very quickly. He is very expensive, and I cannot upgrade him fast enough in order to clear Sid faster. But had I had a good burb, I feel like I would have had enough damage to be able to do this, because even the slightest damage increase could increase his DPS by quite a lot. So yeah. Alright, so our earlier time was 7:30. Now I believe we can do 6:31 or 6. Alright, basically we're faster by a minute, which is actually 6:58. Alright, we're basically faster by a minute than if he was done solo. I feel like this could still be a lot faster had we done it with burb. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that.